And away we go. It is the Aftermath, the post-game show, brought to you by Mio's Pizza, live from the Cincy Light Studios. Next time you're up in Clifton, maybe going to watch the Bearcats baseball team in Big 12 action, stop by and see our good friends at Mio's. Great pizza, thin crust, Chicago deep dish style. Love the steak hoagies, love the wedge fries, excellent appetizers, and of course, lots of ice cold beverages, including on tap ice cold Cincy Light. Make sure you go out and see our good friends at Mio's. All right, Aaron, the first round of the Big 12 tournament is in the books. For the 8th consecutive season, Cincinnati has won a game in the conference tournament as they knock off Oklahoma State 87-68. It was not always the most aesthetically pleasing contest to watch. The teams combined for 40 turnovers and 39 fouls, but Cincinnati played their butts off. And that is what we have expected from this team all along. Hasn't always been there, but it was today. Take it away, Aaron.
I don't know. I don't know what I just watched. I feel like that was the team that we were told we were going to get to watch all season. When you talk about Dylan Mitchell playing really, really well, talk about other pieces. Day had a quiet 20, truthfully. Josh Reed with a career high. Dylan had a career high rebounds and career high assists. The team collectively had 18 steals, 40 rebounds, 10 for 10 on dunks. I don't understand how this is the same team that just lost to Oklahoma State in Stillwater just 3 days ago.
Well, the main difference being one, the scouting report on Oklahoma State was 100% accurate. They are really good at home and an absolute disaster outside of Gallagher-Iba Arena. It could have been a 15-point game in the first 7 minutes if Cincinnati wasn't turning it over and missing wide open shots. But I give credit to this team. We saw this against Kansas State, where they had a chance to blow a team out early and then just decided to play to the level of their competition. Today, they did not do that. They didn't let the early offensive struggles get in their head. They continued fighting, continued playing hard, take a nice lead into the half. You expand on that lead in the second half. Dylan Mitchell was outstanding. 18 and 15?
Yeah.
Which is that Trey Scott is like, that's what I'm talking about. 18 and 15.
And
Josh Reed was, and 5. And also 6 turnovers. Yeah. But we'll let that slide. The 15 rebounds gives you some grace with the way this team has rebounded at times this year. Josh Reed with 19, Day Thomas with 21, Dan Skillings with a flurry of alley-oops to end whatever hope Oklahoma State had. He has 13 and 8. Cincinnati wins the rebounding battle 40-36. It was, I thought, even more lopsided than that. Oklahoma State got a bunch of rebounds kind of late in the game that didn't really matter, but they played downhill. They got to the free throw line. 20 free throw attempts, 15 of 20.
20.
That's
75%.
Like 2-3 games worth of free throw attempts for this team. They took away what killed them on Saturday. Abu Usman played 9 minutes and fouled out after dominating Cincinnati the first time around. He does absolutely nothing. Ends the game with 4 points and 1 rebound in 9 minutes. Also 3 turnovers. So they other than the turnovers, I thought they played really well. They executed Their intensity and their effort was as good as it's been all season, over 40 minutes. You didn't really see any lapses, Aaron. It was I said this to you before we started. It was a difficult game to watch because of all the turnovers and the fouls. But that doesn't mean it. I felt like Cincinnati played poorly. It just felt like it was chaotic at times. A lot of them were just like turnover, turnover, turnover. Like, we got a steal, and then we gave it right back to you, and then you gave it right back to us, and like, but
I think there's no way that they weren't getting confused by the court, right? I think that's what it was. They were trying to dribble. There were too many 12s on the floor, and they just got very confused.
Yeah, where has this team been? It would help to play Oklahoma State away from Gallagher-Iba Arena more frequently, because they are dreadfully bad. Like, that's a completely different Oklahoma State team that they played on Saturday. Completely different.
And truthfully, the craziest thing about the stats is you did all this essentially without Simas, who was on the court, but 19 minutes and 2 points, that's insane. And you scored 87. That's insanity.
Do you remember what his 2 points were?
No, I just remember him continually trying to Euro step and just ending up with the ball here.
The technical foul on Usman. He shot the 2 technical free throws. He missed the easiest layup I've ever seen missed. Nobody around him, left side of the rim, just lay it up. That. And he completely, and then he gets a wide open 3 off of it because they get the offensive rebound, and he misses the wide open 3 as well. It was not a great day for Simas. They have got to figure out a way to get something out of him if they're going to make any noise tomorrow. I don't know how you can be confident of that because he's playing like crap, but
I don't give a shit if he scores again, if you put up 80 plus.
Iowa State's defense is going to be a little better than Oklahoma State's was today.
I'm just saying, if it opens up the floor for everybody else to move freely, so be it.
Yeah. Give your thoughts, Aaron. Take it away.
I don't know. Again, I guess this is what's frustrating is the fact that you see this team do this. And this is with a bad day from Jizzle as well, who goes 2 of 10 for 7. There were, of course, a couple moments where I was nervous that you lose maybe Jizzle and Day-Day. I have no idea what this team would do without one or both of them, because the offense, we've seen it. The offense is well improved with both of them. Yeah. But the offense is well improved with both of them in the lineup at the same time. Jizzle, of course, with the what looked like an ankle injury, and Day-Day, I was nervous about his knee. His leg landed very, very awkwardly.
How was that not a foul?
I mean, that's a great question. I don't know the answer to it. I guess you're just allowed to be under a player, and it doesn't count as anything, a body or
you're allowed
anything.
To body him completely, almost out of bounds.
You talked about it last night that he doesn't get the calls when he goes to the rim, and that makes him maybe a little gun shy to go to the rim. He could have been injured. I was nervous whether it was ankle, knee, whatever it may have been. Turned out it was nothing that took him out of this game. Hopefully there's no residual effect tomorrow. But he got banged around on that play for sure. But I don't know, when you see Dan could have mailed it in. I thought Dan mailed it in, truthfully, about a month ago, if not before that. And Dan played well today, as good as we've seen him in 2 months, 3 months, whatever the timetable is on that. Just you saw effort out of him, and maybe that's because he was getting some easy looks. But there was one play that frustrated the hell out of me when he let Usman leak out for that dunk down the floor. But outside of that,
I don't think that was his fault. Josh fell. I think Josh had him, and as Josh was like turning to run, he kind of got twisted up and slipped, and then Dan had to like come over the top. So he probably should have been in better position, agreed. But I don't think that was his man. I think he was recovering. If you watch that play, you'll see Josh right at midcourt, like kind of get twisted up and allow the run out. But yeah.
But I don't know. You have to be encouraged if you're West that this team has not given up after what happened in Stillwater, and they played their asses off today. I was happy with the effort that I saw put forth. I was happy with the grit, especially from Dylan Mitchell. He decided he was putting the entire team on his back today, and everybody just kind of followed suit. And I think it started with him and ended with him, truthfully.
The one thing I want to see be contagious from Josh Reed, and I just don't know that they have the basketball IQ to do it, but his cuts to the rim are immaculate. Like he knows when to do it, how to do it, how to catch and finish when he gets there. Like we haven't seen somebody cut like that in a long time around here, where all of a sudden everything looks stagnant and then there goes Josh Reed to the rim, easy pass, easy layup. I thought it felt like a couple guys were a little more actively, because when you see somebody do something with success, you're like, maybe I should try this whole cut to the rim for an easy layup thing. Maybe that would help our offense if I cut to the rim every once in a while when the offense gets stagnant. It's a wild concept.
Well, I wonder how much of that is a byproduct, though, of having the green light. Everyone has the green light, it seems, to just freely shoot threes. And when you have that, and we all know that 3 is worth more than 2, they just don't go to the hoop nearly as often. And I don't know how much of that is a byproduct of that.
Yeah, I mean, some of it, though, is just cut to the basket at times. Like, if you're just standing there and nobody's doing anything, maybe cut to the rim and just see if your guy leaves you wide open and doesn't guard you when you do it. It's crazy.
You won't hear any complaints out of me about people going to the rim ever.
Yeah. I'm not going to get too carried away about Dan. He had 8 points at the end on lob dunks off turnovers. Like
I'm more concerned. The bigger stat for me about Dan
rebounding.
Is 8 rebounds. That's, I think, probably a season high for him. Or
it's
close
up there
to it.
It's not. Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, 2 assists, a block, 3 steals. Like that's effort, Dan. I don't truthfully, I don't care about the points. Take them or leave them. I'd certainly rather take them, but it's the other stuff. It's not just I need to score, so I'm shooting. So again, seeing that effort out of Dan is truthfully what this team was starved for the entire 20 games of the Big 12 schedule. And had they had Dan, somebody said in the comments, had they had Dan, that level Dan that we had today, I don't think you're in quite the same position. Maybe that's the difference in 3-4 games, especially those close games where you're losing less than when you're a single digit loss. I think that could have been the difference in some of those games.
Well, and when you're getting killed on the glass and Dan has 1 rebound, he plays, 23 minutes or whatever, 18 minutes, 20 minutes, and has 1 rebound, and you lose the rebounding battle by 8. Like, if he gets in there and actually digs out some rebounds and uses his advantage, which is length and athleticism, then you maybe flip that and you at least make it a close game at the end instead of a game the other team's shooting free throws in the final minute to create a score that's not indicative of how the game played out.
Well, it's not just the rebounds; it also the steals, the 3 steals, like that's using that length and athleticism as well. The 1 block. It wasn't just Aziz going up for blocks today. The team finishes with 6 blocks. Although Aziz was the head of that monster, and he had some fantastic blocks that just he seemingly came out of nowhere. He's been doing that, it feels like, more and more the last several games. So I've enjoyed that. But especially when he puts them into like the 2nd, 3rd, 5th row.
Aziz was super active today defensively. Like he was a menace.
The hands for the steal.
Yeah. Seamoss did have a block. Good wall up on a drive. What's good, Ron? Yeah, Aziz is getting under people's skin. Like, he's being the annoyant that he was supposed to be. That, like, you pictured when you saw Aziz come to this roster.
But you're able to be
bother people, distract people.
You're able to be that guy when you have guys like Dan playing to his level. When you have guys like Dylan's defense today, I thought was fantastic. Josh Reed, of course, in the starting lineup, inserting him there allows Aziz to move a little bit more freely and be that distraction underneath the rim that he's designed to be.
Yeah. I thought Dylan and Aziz played pretty well together today, but Dylan was more aggressive offensively. Like, he was looking to get into either score or pass, like make the defense. That's been part of the problem with the offense this year, is that teams are playing 10 feet off of Dylan. And he doesn't attack it. He just lets that guy stand there and he moves the ball, and then that guy doesn't have to guard him. So, like, on screens and, whatever, anything that's happening when he doesn't have the ball, his guy is not engaged with guarding Dylan. When Dylan catches that pass, takes 2 dribbles and makes contact, now that defender is tied to Dylan. Right. So he's not just allowed to play center field and be an extra man that's kind of clogging the paint, I guess is a good way to put it. Like, it's really hard to get downhill if the other team is clogging the paint. When Dylan takes a couple dribbles in and initiates that contact, now that guy is engaged and he can't just stand there, and keep other guys from being active. Like, that's why a lot of those cuts work. Because they're anticipating that guy, by the design, is supposed to be there to take away those cuts so they can play aggressively on the perimeter. Dylan's man is engaged. Now you can cut, and that guy's not standing there to take that away.
Well, Dylan almost played like a point forward today. He played with his head up. He was looking for the pass. If the pass wasn't there, then he would cut to the rim. He initiated contact, I thought, far more than he normally does. And then, again, if he wasn't able to back them down, he made the pass or he made a move. And that's certainly not what we've seen. We've seen him either settle for some garbage baby hook that it really isn't in his bag, or just continually just only look for the lob. And today he looked to have a first step that has been sorely missed. I don't recall when the last time was that he used that first step as much as he did today anyway. And his passes are crisp. And he ended up with 5 assists because of that.
And some of his turnovers were out of aggression, like trying to push the ball up the floor. Now, a couple of them he shouldn't have thrown, but he was trying to make something happen. I'll always err with a guy trying to make something happen than a guy just standing there dribbling and gets pickpocketed or, gets it tipped away and the other team turns it into a fast break.
That's kind of the difference, though, between his 6 turnovers and Jizzle's 5 turnovers, right?
I mean, early I thought Jizzle's were that of aggression, but then Arturo Dean just ate his lunch at times.
Clamped. Yeah.
He had 7 steals, Dean?
He had at least 6. I remember the announce crew saying
7.
6.
7 steals in 22 minutes is insanity. That's crazy.
Well, I don't know. I'm encouraged. If this team comes out tomorrow, maybe you give Iowa State, who's been, taking some punches to the face here of late, a little run for their money.
The only problem I'm concerned with there is that it's going to be a home game for them. Like, sure. They are going to have that. Like, they travel in big, like they shut down Ames and traveled to Kansas City for this
Can't
tournament.
even. I was gonna say you can't even say that that's a travel game. I mean, how far is that? 45 minutes?
A couple hours. No, it's a couple
Is it?
hours. Yeah.
Well,
But it's like a couple hours to get in your car, and like, what's there to do in Ames on a Wednesday in March? Might as well make the trip to Kansas City. But it's something that their fan base every year has circled. We're going to Kansas City, like UC used to do for bowl games.
they won
We're
the
going to
tournament
the bowl
last
game.
year.
Yeah, because the place was, Hilton South, I guess. It's Kansas City south of Iowa, I think.
Sure.
I think. I don't know. I'm trying to remember my geography on where Missouri and Iowa are.
I think they're next to each other.
Okay, maybe east. I think it's a little south. I don't know. I wasn't great with those plain states. I knew the East Coast. I knew the West Coast. I knew like Michigan, Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, all that. South, yeah. But I didn't know the plains, like Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri. That wasn't my strong suit on geography testing. Almost directly south. Fucking nailed it, Aaron. Yes.
All right. There you
go. But yeah, just a complete overall team effort. You hold Iowa State to 9 points per possession, and that was even with they had a guy come off the bench that had made 5 threes all year, make 4 threes in the second half.
0.9.
Yeah, 0.9 points per possession. Yeah. And then Cincinnati at 1.145. So even with the slow start and even with only shooting 26% from 3, including only making 2 in the second half, you get 87 points and 1.14 points per possession out of the offense. Like I said, defensively, I thought their effort was outstanding. They had 6 blocks, 3 from Aziz, 1 from Jizzle, 1 from Dan. The one from Jizzle was outstanding on a turnover, just got back and erased his mistake.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, the only real negative I've got is the turnovers. Dylan with 6, Jizzle with 5, Day with 3. And, those were the 3 guys with the ball in their hand the most. Oklahoma State does pressure you. Like that is their Iowa State light kind of in how they want to defend you. They do want to pressure you. I think almost all of them were steals. At 12 steals on 16 turnovers. So that is something you will have to get together quick because Iowa State was watching that game going, excellent. Like we are going to turn these bitches over 25 times tomorrow if they don't get it together.
God, I hope not. Impressive stats for me: 48 points in the paint, 26 points off turnovers, 16 second chance points on those 16 offensive rebounds. That's not a great points per rebound, but I'll still take 16 second chance points. I don't know, I thought it was a fun game to watch. I know you said it wasn't aesthetically pleasing. The offense is actually moving.
Yeah, I'm not talking about I just mean the flow was off because of the turnovers, because of the fouls. Like it just didn't feel like there was a whole lot of rhythm to each segment.
It was a little herky jerk, but I mean,
that makes it hard to watch because it's not super crisp basketball.
Well, it seems that somebody told the officials that Big 12 needed more free throws anyway because you had almost 40 in this one at 39. So,
well, it was sermons.
I know it was.
By the way, Aaron, Saturday, last week, Oklahoma State won points in the paint 38-26. So that is quite the turnaround.
It's obviously a focus in this game with 48. So
yeah, they doubled them up 24-48. I mean, they forced Oklahoma State to be a jump shooting team, which they are not. And it paid off. Imagine that.
Frustrated the hell out of Usman. Enough that he fouled out on a tech in his last game.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Is AP out of here next year? Look, those conversations will happen when the season ends, but my man didn't play, and Rayvon Griffith went in at the 5 over Arrington Page a couple times today. And if that's not like writing on the wall, I don't know what is. Like
it looked indicative.
He sat there with his t-shirt on the entire game. Like, he didn't even look like he tried to get up and go in. So am I definitively saying Arrington Page won't be back next year? No. But context clues are always important in life. And the context clues from today's game is that Arrington Page's Cincinnati career is in doubt. Is probably the best way to put it.
If I was a Magic 8 Ball, I would say the signs point to yes.
Yeah. We'll get to that when we get to it, when this regular season or the conference tournament is over. Unless, they just rip off 4 more in a row, Aaron, and play their way into the NCAA tournament.
Anything is possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Here I am on the road again. Nobody knows. No Bob Seger fans in here? Turning the page?
Sure.
I don't know who Bob Seger is, do you?
I'm yeah, okay. I'm still stuck on the fact that Natty Ron said bye about 6 times, and then he's still here talking about it's time to turn the page as the most valuable employee. Good job, Natty Ron. Good job.
Ron, you're watching this on your phone while you're working, aren't you? Ed, you think oh man. Metallica does not sing Bob Seger Turn the Page unless they covered it. Good for them. It's a classic Bob Seger song. Ed. Natty Ron sneaking in views. Fun, Deanna, aren't we all pretending to work right now? I thought we all knew that. I have wanted to do a daily, like late afternoon show like this for years. Because I think everybody at the end of the day at work is looking for something to occupy their time from like 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. I think there'd be 100 of you lunatics in here every time we did one of those shows, just to give you something to do to get through the end of work.
Next year, one of the kids goes off to preschool, and then just one more left.
One more to go. Tony was losing it today. Tony has mental issues with this basketball team. I love Tony, but he has let this basketball team severely impact his mental health. And yeah, you guys are crazy. I get it, but like, take a deep breath, Tone. They won by 20. Relax.
Old Soda Pop's got to lay off the Mentos.
Let's see what you did there. What else you want to talk about?
I don't know. We got to do this all over again tomorrow. So,
these people are trying to kill time at work, Aaron. When did you put those kids down?
I put them down. I waited. I did. look, I even went and woke the youngest one up at 12:30 to make sure that I could put her down again for her second nap. I put them down at 2:30.
Okay.
I got the monitor.
You're on the clock here.
I got the monitor. We're good. I put them in separate rooms so one would not wake the other. If they did wake up, the other one's in a pack and play. Look
at the big brain on Aaron.
I'm not taking credit for any of this. Rachel helped me plan all of this morning.
All right, let's go over. Here's the deal. Aaron will go over the stats, and then when we're done, I will stay here with you guys as long as there's at least 100 people in the room. When we dip below 100, I'll go. But if you can keep it over 100, then I'll stay and we'll chat.
I'll have to check on that baby, but we'll see where we're at.
Hit the stats.
All right. Day Thomas leading all Bearcats with 21 points. Last three elevated him to that lead there. 7 of 12 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Efficient day shooting for Day at all levels. 2 offensive rebounds.
Go ahead. Finish with Day and then I want to add something.
2 offensive, 1 defensive, giving him 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 fouls, 3 turnovers, 6 steals to lead all Bearcats. 32 minutes played, plus 18.
One thing we didn't get to that I think is important, Aaron. They got this thing, Oklahoma State got this thing to like 12 with 5 minutes left. And if they make another basket or two there, and this thing gets at or below single digits, it gets dicey. But they got it to 12. Cincinnati cranked up the defensive intensity again. They got a couple steals. That's where they were throwing the lobs to Dan. Day hits a 3. Give this team credit because it very easily could have gotten complacent down the stretch. And I thought Day was a big part of that with his activity, with his hands on defense, helping create some of those loose balls, throwing the lobs to Dan, hitting that 3. But that's something I like. When it got to 12, I was like, are they going to be mentally tough enough not to let this thing get down to 6 or like give Oklahoma State like a breath of thinking that they can steal a game that they had no business winning? So kudos to the guys. And I thought Day and Dan were the 2 like catalysts of this, that when it got down to 12 said, no, we're putting this bad boy back up to 20 and we're coasting to the finish line.
I agree. Josh Reed with a career high 19 points in this one. We wondered where Josh went the last couple games. Today, he made up for it. 19 points, 8 of 12 from the field. None of those fadeaway Dirk shots today. 2 of 3.
No, he took one.
Did he?
That banked off like from the corner off the side of the glass. You don't remember that one?
Look, I mean, I did my best to watch as much as I could while also watching 2 kids and keeping them awake so I could put them down for this. So
yeah, he hit one off the glass from the side. It had no business going in. But I think that was his 19th point. It was the old man. It was the equivalent of like you're guarding that old guy and he hits that like 17-footer from the almost down to the baseline, and it like the angle banks and drops in, and you're like, man, this guy's bullshit.
2 of 3 from 3, 1 free throw made on 1 free throw attempted. 3 offensive rebounds, 1 defensive, giving him 4. 2 assists, 2 fouls, 1 turnover, 1 steal. 33 minutes played, plus 21 to lead all Bearcats.
It was good. It was good, man. Really, really good. I was there on the glass. I thought his effort defensively was outstanding. Again, the cuts to the basket really helped open up the offense and kind of put Oklahoma State on their heels. So I thought those were critical. Hit a couple, jumpers. You add to that, you score. He was a 3-level scorer, essentially. Threes, mid-range, layups, got to the free throw line a little bit. Just a great game from Josh. He had been stuck at that 13, right? That was he couldn't get over the hump and create a new career high. Gets 15 in the first half. Think how bad they would have been offensively in the first half without Josh Reed's 15.
How
Huge
slow
boost.
his move to the hoop was when he took it from the free throw line, and just it's as if it's in slow motion. I don't know how no one is stealing that. I don't know how no one's getting in the way. It's crazy how slow that move is, but it works.
It's deliberate, Aaron. It's not slow, it's deliberate.
Sure. Dylan with a monster game, 18 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 1 of 1 from 3, 3 of 6, which is a good day for him from the line, 8 offensive, 7 defensive, giving him 15. That's a season high for anybody.
I don't remember anybody with 15 this year.
5 assists, both of those career highs for him, rebounds and assists, 2 fouls, 6 turnovers, 1 steal, 30 minutes played, plus 14 for Dylan.
It's great. He's great.
Best game as a Bearcat.
For sure. He scored, he facilitated, he rebounded, he played defense, did everything, hit some free throws. How about that?
That's what I said, 3 of 6. That's a good day.
Did everything basically that, if you sat down before the game and said, here's what an ideal Dylan Mitchell game is going to look like today, that was it.
Yeah, 18 of 15 is wild from him.
Yeah.
18, 15, 5. My goodness. Dan, 13 points, 6 of 13 from the field. He was 0 for 4 from 3, but 1 of 2 at the line. 1 offensive, 7 defensive rebounds, giving him 8, 2 assists, 2 fouls, no turnovers. Where was I? 1 block, 3 steals, 26 minutes played, plus 17. That's the first time he has been on the plus side of plus minus, and I don't know how long.
It's been a long time since them days. The effort was great. He really only had 1 play on defense where it was reverted back to Dan, where he kind of hopped. Guy was going to shoot a 3 and Dan kind of hopped at him and he pump faked and then he went right by him. And then I think Dan fouled him trying to get back in position. But look, normally I need a notebook to write down the things I think Dan screwed up on defense every game this year. And today I only had 1. I remembered it right off the top of my head. So that is 8. And that's why the plus minus is up, right? Normally, it doesn't matter what he does offensively this year because he's been so bad defensively that he's never going to be a net positive. And today he was solid. He doesn't have to be great defensively. He just can't be terrible. And that goes for a lot of the elements of his game. Just don't be terrible. And today he did get the deflection on a 3. Out on the wing, kind of in transition. They were trying to get a quick 3 up, and he got a fingertip on it. His effort was great. It looked like his attention to detail was much, much better today. And then guess what, Aaron? If you just play, right? If you just play, then you get rewarded with 4 lob dunks at the end of the game because you're playing your ass off, and the ball finds you. So, it's exactly what they need from Dan was what we got today.
16 turnovers for the Bearcats, and none of them committed by Dan Skillings is a crazy stat, especially when we've seen him go for 3 straight possessions with 3 straight turnovers. So kudos to him for taking care of the ball today in a game where the Bearcats weren't the best at taking care of the ball. All right.
Kelsey's home. She's really happy about Josh Reed with the career high 19 points. Tyler Betsy airballed a 3.
Josh did that a lot last season.
He did that a lot Saturday.
All right. 7 points for Jizzle James, 2 for 10 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 1 offensive rebound, 3 assists, 2 fouls, 5 turnovers, a block, a steal, 27 minutes played, plus 8.
Kelsey said, "What's up, girl?"
Hi.
I wonder, he looked like he turned his ankle at the end of the game Saturday. I wonder if it was bothering him more than he let on, because he looked a little like a step slow. He didn't look like he had his normal shiftiness to him. And when you don't, you try to make up for that by making some of the bad passes that he like trying to force passes, because you can't get where you want off the dribble. It's something we're going to have to keep a close eye on tomorrow, because if his ankle's not good, Iowa State is going to attack him relentlessly.
If I'm not mistaken, today it was his right ankle that he rolled a little bit on when he ended up having to go back to the locker room.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was the same ankle.
I think it was, but I don't know for sure. I think I remember him hobbling on his right ankle at the end of the Oklahoma State game.
I hope it's not both ankles. I hope he.
Yeah, I would rather it just be one.
I hope he didn't also mess up the right ankle worse. Somebody in the chat earlier did say, they mentioned the fact that ankle injuries can be one of those things that creeps up more on you the next day than it does during.
Well, also, that's for like Dan from Price Hill, who goes home and just sleeps, and then he wakes up and his ankle balloons up. Jizzle will be getting a lot of medical attention, a lot of treatment between now and tomorrow morning. So, yeah, Cincinnati's the first game again tomorrow, Ron. They'll be the first game for as long as they're playing.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? It would be Aziz, 4 points, 2 of 2 from the field, 5 rebounds, all defensive, 2 fouls, a turnover, 3 blocks, 3 steals, 24 minutes played, plus 10 for Aziz.
I thought his effort was great. He didn't have a lot of looks offensively, but they didn't throw him the ball really a ton offensively. They just let him be a screener. They let him, be there as a threat in the lob game so that the big can't leave him. And then defensively, let him go to work. 5 rebounds, 3 blocks, 3 steals. If that's what you're getting from your 7-foot, defensive presence, I think that's a successful day for AZ.
Well, how many more shots did he alter, or just
talk
people out of entirely just simply by being down there? Because when you go from, what did you say, 38 last game for Oklahoma State in the paint down to 24, that's pretty big fall off.
Yep. Much better than he was on Saturday. Much better.
For sure. For sure. All right. Rayvon. 3 points, 1 of 2 from the field, 0 for 1 from 3, 1 of 1 at the line, 1 defensive rebound, 3 fouls, 1 steal, 4 minutes played, -7 to lead all Bearcats the wrong way.
He's got his biggest thing is he has got to stop fouling. He guards like this, like 2 hands on the ball handler, whoever he's guarding at all times. They will let you get away with 1. The minute that second hand comes up, they're going to call a foul. And he does it anytime somebody tries to drive past him. He's guarding with 1, and then as soon as that guy makes a move, that second hand, he cannot, they need to practice, tie that shit behind his back.
Well, if you're playing the 5, you're going to run into guys trying to bump into you again and again and again. So if he's getting minutes at the 5, he's simply got to figure it out, or your time's going to be very limited.
That is something that they have been practicing. I just never thought they'd use it in a game right at the 5.
Well, if you're
That's why I never
practicing
really brought it. I
waste
mean, but like,
be a waste of
you
time
got
to not bring him.
well, you're like running him with that group of guys. But that's like break glass in case of emergency was in my brain. But they just, I guess, got to the point where Aziz, Dylan, and now Ray is the third five. If Paige isn't going to play, like that's where they're gonna put Ray at, I guess. I wouldn't recommend it tomorrow.
Simas Lukosius, 2 points, 0 of 6 from the field, 0 of 4 from 3, 2 for 2 at the line, 1 rebound. It was defensive. 1 assist, 1 block, 1 steal, 19 minutes played, plus 13.
Yeah.
Weird game for Simas.
I think right now he is letting his outside shot impact everything. If his 3 ball isn't falling, he is just letting it like crumble his confidence. Yeah, he didn't airball it because it hit the backboard, didn't it? I thought he just shot it like straight over the rim. He might have missed the backboard. I didn't get it, whatever. But he has got to see a shot fall. Got to see a shot fall. Yeah, I know it didn't hit the rim. I thought it hit the backboard. That's not technically an air ball. But he's struggling offensively right now. And what's frustrating, Aaron, is right before he hurt his shoulder, he had hit 3 threes in that game. Was that Houston? Where he hit 3 threes? Or was it
Maybe.
Iowa State? I can't remember which one it was.
I don't either.
But I think it was Iowa State. But he had hit 3 threes in that game. Then he hurt his shoulder, and everything is just kind of fallen apart for him since then. Yeah, it was Iowa State. That's what I thought.
All right, Tyler Betsy 0 for 2 from the field and from 3. 1 foul, 4 minutes played, plus 2 for Tyler Betsy. Not great.
If he's going to take that pull up in transition, he's got to make it. Yeah, he's got to make it. Like, or at least hit the rim and give your guys a chance to go get it.
Something.
Like, we've been asking for a little more irrational confidence, but you got to deliver on the irrational confidence. You can't just pull up with 27 seconds on the shot clock and fire a wing 3 that doesn't hit the rim. He's too good of a shooter for that.
It was
much too good of a shooter for that.
He's looking more and more like just the catch and shoot guy, though, as opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
And then Halvin Zella, he gets in. He's not even credited with a full minute. 1 foul, -1.
He's the walk-on.
He's the guy.
Walk-on.
He's your starting center in the crown.
Aziz will play in that. Like he's out of eligibility. Like Aziz and Simas and
so you're starting 4.
Yeah, part of your starting 4. But yeah, that's the statistical analysis, Aaron.
It is that.
I'm
gonna go check on this baby. Let me hop off camera here real quick. I'm gonna just put up my little thing, but yeah, I'll be back.
Let's look ahead a little bit to Iowa State coming in. Cincinnati played them well. I am hoping because they had Doug Sermons today, they will not have him again tomorrow. I almost fell out of my chair when Fran Fraschilla raved about Doug Sermons and how he should be in the Final Four as an official. I wanted to throw my chair at the TV at that point. But just looking back at that game, Curtis Jones was the one that really killed him, but it was from the free throw line. And a lot of that was garbage time. He had 22, but they made him work. He was only 4 of 13 from the floor, 2 of 8 from 3. Momcilovic and Jefferson gave them fits. They were a combined 10 for 19. Momcilovic was 2 of 5 from 3. They combined for 25 points. So, that's going to be the task at hand for Aziz and Dylan. Lipsy didn't do a whole lot. He had 11, but he did. He was efficient. 3 of 3 from the floor. He hit both threes. The interesting thing there, he's usually a pretty high assist guy. He did not have an assist. And then Keyshawn Gilbert. That'll be interesting to see if Gilbert plays. He has been in and out for them. So does Iowa State look at this as we wanted, make sure that Keyshawn Gilbert is healthy for the NCAA tournament? Or are they looking at it as we're gonna do everything we can to win the Big 12 championship? That'll be, something Keegan will have his eye on as soon as he gets to the arena. But the key for Cincinnati is simple. They played their butts off against Iowa State, and outside of just some dreadful officiating in the second half, it should have been a game down to the wire. So, if they get an even whistle in this game, I'm not expecting Cincinnati to get a favorable whistle, but if they get an even whistle in this game and they play with the effort and energy that we saw tonight or today, and when they were in Ames, they can make this a game down the stretch. They can make this a game that is very difficult for Iowa State to win. Do I think Iowa State's going to win? Yeah, I do. But that doesn't mean Cincinnati can't give them fits, especially if Gilbert's limited or if he doesn't play, because I think it's a shoulder injury for him. So that might be one that they do say, the odds of something happening to him if we use him in a Big 12 tournament run are pretty large. Let's get him rested and make sure he's ready for the NCAA tournament. That'll be something to definitely keep an eye on. There's no potential opponents, Connor, because of the double bye. It's already set. So if they beat Iowa State, they would play BYU. BYU is already sitting there awaiting the Cincinnati Iowa State winner. The one thing to keep an eye on, Aaron, and this is pretty prominent in conference tournament games. The team that played the day before is generally a little more ready to play right out of the gate in that second game, where the team that's been sitting for 4 or 5 days takes them a little while to get up to speed. But then it usually evens itself out because the team that played the day before gets a little winded in the second half, the legs get a little tired, and that favors team 2. Cincinnati's going to have to come out and at least play even, if not try to build a little bit of a lead on Iowa State in those opening 2 segments. I think the opening 2 segments are going to tell us most of what we need to know for the game. If Iowa State is up 20-14 at the under 12, Cincinnati's in big trouble.
If Cincinnati's up 10-2, they could give up a 35-12 run, and who knows what happens. You talk about evening out. I don't think it's the team that necessarily is out of gas or anything like that, especially in the second game. I think it's simply the team that had the bye is better.
Sure. So that's why they've got the bye. But there is an advantage for the team that is coming off of playing the day before early.
Yeah,
because you're more into it early.
As long as Day and Jizzle aren't losing a step either of them, truthfully, due
Yeah.
to whatever happened today. So I don't know. It's going to be must see TV. I think that at least the first two segments, to your point, and we've also seen a Cincinnati team though that has not played very well with a lead. So
Yeah.
you build up whatever lead you can in those first two segments, if at all possible, and hope that you can just fight. I'm encouraged though. Again, I'm because of what we saw out of Dylan today, because of what we saw out of Josh Reed getting back on track. I think those are huge net positives. CMOS going the other way is disturbing.
It's a concern. It's a big concern.
But there's Doug. Doug, I still miss you on Twitter. I wish you'd come back.
TJ Otzelberger is probably preparing his halftime speech to whoever the head official is.
That's funny.
Can you see TJ Otzelberger now standing in his hotel room? You're not calling enough fouls against them. We're getting too many fouls, but you coach your team fouls every possession. That's not the point.
I just wonder if TJ Otzelberger is sending dinner to whoever's. I didn't mean to ban you last time you were here. Sending dinner. Because the chat was moving too fast. I was trying to ban somebody else.
You apologize right now.
I did apologize immediately as soon as I did it. I don't know. Iowa State, you almost hate that they ended up in the position they did because BYU surged. Because I did not want to see Iowa State of all teams in the second round. But that's where we're at.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll take an Iowa State team that's been a little bit roller coastery over the last 3-4 weeks than a BYU team that hasn't lost since they played at at Fifth Third Arena.
And funny that you say that because I know you talked a little bit about a team. I think it was on the BCJ pod. You talked about a team that had issues in the locker room after some losses, and you refused to talk about what team that was. And I'm very curious by the end of the season if we're going to find out that team ended up being Iowa State.
Apparently, I said it on a different podcast that it was Iowa State. I think I said it on one of the nightcaps when doing the Big 12 recap, and somebody was like, "I don't know why you were being secretive about it. You mentioned it on the nightcap 2 weeks ago." Yeah, Iowa State's having a little bit of locker room strife. So put some pressure on them. Maybe you get them to crack.
You wonder how much of that is caused by the fact that Momcilovic, when he was out, you had a dude step up from the bench and get relegated back to the bench as soon as Momcilovic came back.
I think it's deeper than that, but I don't really want to air their dirty laundry here on this show. But I think there is some NIL stuff going on there. So, when times get bumpy, then money becomes a little bit more of a factor in college basketball 2025. Air it out. Why not? No. It's nah. They're just, they're having some struggles. But they're still really good. So it's not going to be easy. And the turnover thing, they had 14 turnovers against Iowa State the first time. That's not terrible against them. You'd like to see that be closer to 10 or 11 probably because they are good at getting steals and turning them into points. I'd rather if you're trapped, just throw the damn thing out of bounds.
Well,
instead of like letting them take it and get an open run to the rim.
You wonder how much of an emphasis that's going to be coming off of a game against Oklahoma State where today you just had 16 turnovers. I imagine there's going to be quite a bit of talk in between now and tip tomorrow as far as taking care of the ball goes.
And Jizzle turned it over 5 times in that game. He turned it over 5 times today. So he's going to have to be a little more careful with the basketball against the Cyclones tomorrow.
Dylan turning it over 6 times today is an anomaly. I don't recall him ever having turnovers quite like that. 3 might be his, like 2 to 3 might be his normal. 6 is wildly out of character for that guy.
Yeah, can't turn it over 5 times when you shoot 5 for 20. False hope what they did against Oklahoma State. Sure. Oklahoma State's not good, especially out of their home arena. Like, I don't look at Iowa State as – I look at Iowa State more the way they played Iowa State in the first game. And they put up a hell of a fight. So that tells me they've got a little fight in them against a team of that quality. It would tend to lead that, you know, they match up fairly well against Iowa State. So, you know, you go in and you punch them in the mouth in those first 5 to 8 minutes, and then you see where the chips fall from there. I think that's the key to this game. I think one of the biggest things, Aaron, you can't allow those extended 10-0, 12-2, 15-4 type runs against Iowa State. Like, and that's what they try to create off of their defense. That's where the turnovers and Iowa State getting steals comes into play. You have got to do a good job taking care of the ball. If you're going to turn it over out of bounds and make them set up in their half-court offense. Do not let them get out in transition and turn that offense or turn that defense into offense. I think those are kind of the keys.
If you can get an aggressive Dylan Mitchell again, though, how much more does that open up things for literally everybody?
Quite a bit. We'll see if Iowa State takes that same approach of playing off of him and giving him space to get into that back down where he can be kind of a facilitator out of the mid post. So yeah, maybe there won't be a 30-11 free throw disparity. That could make the outcome of the game a little bit different.
I think there should be an allotted 3 minutes that Wes gets with whoever the head official is at halftime.
Yeah, just as a makeup. Yeah, just as a makeup.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's probably, Doug, the most frustrating thing with this team is you expected today of all days for them to mail it in, and it was as hard as they played all season, start to finish. Like, there really weren't lapses in their effort. They had one random guy get hot from 3 and get it a little closer than you would have wanted it to be when it got back to 12. But ultimately, like, for 40 minutes, they busted their ass. They played hard. They rebounded. They played smart for the most part. They didn't foul a ton. What game segment will be most important, early, middle, or late? Connor, did you just get here? I think the opening 8 minutes. I think the opening 2 segments are going to be critical because in these tournament games, the team that has played generally has a little bit more pop right at the beginning of the game against the team that sat. So Cincinnati, I think, is going to have to take that to their advantage and get out to an early lead, or at least stand up to Iowa State in the middle of the ring and throw some punches and say, we're not going to get punked today. If they go out and it's, like I said, if it's 20-14 at the under 12 and Iowa State looks comfortable, it's probably going to be a long afternoon. If not, then Cincinnati's going to have a chance.
Let's just hope all these guys keep putting out mixtapes for their they're all building highlight reels for their mixtapes for the transfer portal. Let's go. These are final audition tapes. Let's go.
Yeah, Tucker, we talked about this extensively last night on the BBP. If they just won the games they were supposed to, they would have finished right around where we thought they would in conference. Yeah. 2 against Kansas State, 2 against West Virginia, on the road at Utah, Oklahoma State to end the season. Like, they had plenty of opportunities to end up with 11-12 conference wins and didn't have to beat any of the best teams in the league to do it. And instead, they didn't give great effort in most of those games. I thought the West Virginia game at West Virginia, their effort was good. It wasn't in either Kansas State game. It wasn't the first game, West Virginia at home. The Utah game, I didn't think effort was the issue. I think they just played like crap. Thought they played hard, but they didn't play well enough to win on the road. So, yeah. They ended up with 7 conference wins. They needed 10. So there's 3 games that they left on the table that, that's all right, Connor. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, Ray's always going to hustle, Doug. Ray's always going to hustle. The problem is right now he's always going to foul. As soon as his man has the ball, if they make a move with the ball, Ray is going to put 2 hands on him, and the officials are going to blow the whistle. He has got to get that figured out if he wants to get on the floor, because teams know it. They're not stupid. This guy can't stop fouling. They do it to Tyler Betsy. That's why Tyler Betsy's minutes have not grown, and they
did it to Arnson Page.
Yeah, they did it to Page too. But all 3 of those guys, young guys that haven't played a lot of college basketball, but if they know you're instantly going to put 2 hands up on somebody with the ball in action, they're gonna attack it, and they're gonna just stack fouls on you. And that's how Ray is gonna have to, that's what he's gonna have to fix going forward if he wants to get on the floor. All right, I think that's all I got. I don't have much else on Iowa State. Just don't get bullied. If your effort is good and your attention to detail is good, I think they can play with this team. I think, I do think Iowa State wins because I think Iowa State is better, and generally on a neutral floor, the better team wins. But I don't think it's a situation where Cincinnati has no chance. What I saw in Ames, the type of fight I saw from that team in Ames, outside of a ridiculously bad whistle, I thought they had a chance to keep that game close and have it be decided in the final minutes. So it could be a blowout if they come out flat and they don't come out with great energy. But I think if we saw the team we saw today in terms of effort, Aaron, I think you see a good game into the final 2 segments. And then you see where the chips fall. Do you make shots or do you not?
Yeah, I'm just wondering how much they can build off of today, because today was a monumental opportunity for a bounce back for this team. And
yeah.
you see that they are capable of doing this. And this is what we begged and cried and pleaded for all fucking year.
Yep. Thank you to all of you that tuned in from your desk at work. We greatly appreciate it. One way or the other, we will be back here tomorrow, and we'll hopefully be talking about a win and advancing to the quarterfinals against BYU. That's the Aftermath, brought to you by Mio's, live from the Cincy Light Studios, right here on BearcatJournal.com. Thanks, everybody.
See you tomorrow.